Jonathan Stewart gets in, fights for more yardage. Stewart to the mouth of the goal line. Touchdown!
Wow, that's just pure Stewart right there.
That's a big-time run by Jonathan Stewart.
Welcome to Bleav in Carolina Panthers here on Bleav Podcast Networks. Do you believe? Rate and subscribe the show on all major podcast platforms and subscribe to our social media channels on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Video available weekly at youtube.com/@Tobacco Road Sports Radio.
Do you believe?
And welcome into a brand new edition of the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast here on Bleav Podcast Networks. I'm your host, Desmond Johnson, joined by Sports Illustrated Panthers beat writer Schuyler, Callihan, and the Panthers all-time leading rusher Jonathan Stewart. You can catch us on a variety of platforms. If you're watching this right now, you can see us on youtube.com/@Tobacco Road Sports Radio. You can also view this on Twitter/X. Just go to the Bleav in Panthers on Twitter. You can watch it there. Off of our feed, all of us sharing that out right now, so you can catch it off our individual feeds as well. And you can also watch it on Facebook Watch. If you are watching and you want to participate in the show, you can actually do so. Just comment in the comment section. It'll pop up over on the side. We open mailbag every week on Bleav in Panthers, so we're more than willing to answer your questions. You probably have some because the schedule release came out last night, finally, after probably about 3 weeks of teasing from the NFL. We finally know where the Panthers are going to be. We'll be able to dissect the schedule a little bit. And we probably won't pick wins and losses today. I think last year we did it like in August, like towards the in the preseason after we saw the team for a little bit. So we'll probably wait to do that then. But know that that's coming down the pipeline. It's open mailbag. Tell them why you're mad. We might have a little something for tell them why you're mad. We were talking about it before the show.
Yes.
I'm wondering if we're gonna do it. Okay. So we're gonna attack this. So we'll go into it.
Well, there's two vantage points here.
Really.
The one of them is a little, touchy.
Yeah.
The other one would be, relatively on pace of the schedule release.
Yeah.
Of what I'm hot about.
Okay, cool. So we got some Tell 'em Why You Mad today as well. And then, of course, the ultimate 53-man Panther roster here at Bleav Panthers still going on. I put up middle linebacker yesterday. You can only take two. And I peeped at it this morning, and there was only one guy that was getting all the votes. I'll let you guys guess who that was. So we might have to pick the three of us. We might have to pick the other middle linebacker. So we'll see. So we need some help. So if y'all are watching right now, when we get to that part, when we start debating it, we're going to need some help. Stu, you played with two of them. I think they're going to be the ones that are in question. So we will get to that as well. Before we get into anything else, though, your sponsors at Bet Online. They're your number one source for all your summer sports this season for Major League Baseball, golf, NBA, and NHL playoffs. All the latest stats, news, and scores available to follow your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. And while we're all still getting our shares out on our Twitter feeds and getting this out to everybody, just circle around the block here. How's everybody going on this beautiful Thursday? I feel like it's been raining all week up here.
Yeah. Yesterday was scary. I don't know about if Stu got it, but I mean, we had a storm here in Mooresville early yesterday morning. That was really, really scary. I mean, I've never seen a storm like that since I moved here. And then we had another one like around 5 o'clock yesterday. So we had two storms yesterday.
Was it tornadoes or just severe thunderstorms? I thought because it looked dark to the south of me. I'm in Kernersville, so I'm in the Triad. So y'all are down an hour below. Yeah,
I mean, it was pouring yesterday morning. It was storming, like thunder, lightning, everything, the whole shebang. I'm a huge fan of rain. I don't really care for the thunder and lightning. It's not that it scares me. It used to when I was a kid. I used to call my mom when I got home from school and tell her to get home because I'm scared to death. But now I just kind of ignore it. But it's just annoying.
I'm not a fan, especially if it's dogs. If you have a dog during a thunderstorm, I would.
Now, see, that's what trips me up because my two dogs are scared of everything, but they're not scared of lightning and thunder. I don't get it.
That's odd. Yeah, my dog, if a food line bag goes blowing across the front yard, she freaks out for 20 minutes. Like it just. She's scared of the Dyson vacuum or whatever it is, but not afraid of the loud thunder. And then, of course, the the incomparable Jonathan Stewart. You've been making the rounds. I saw you. I've seen you facing a couple of pods the past couple of weeks. You've been hopping up on everything. That you got the Oregon joint on Bleav going along, and then I saw you made an appearance on something else too, if I'm not mistaken.
The Rangers podcast.
Yeah. So good stuff, man.
I'm out here, following these Hurricanes.
Dude, is that tonight?
That's tonight.
All right.
I will be having the opportunity to open that siren for the game.
Oh, can you break it?
Don't break
it.
Last year I did break it. I was a little too strong. But anything to get the crowd rowdy and get them amped up for a playoff game.
They're gonna need it because they're down 3-2.
3-2. They can win the next two. All it is just one game at a time.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Bring a world championship back to the state of North Carolina. They're the only professional team that has four. So bring it back. So we're going to look at the schedule release here. If you, of course, other shows have done this. They did it immediately after. We like to sleep on it, get back on the next day after we thought about it a little bit. I pulled it up here from Panthers.com. I thought about pulling. If you haven't seen it, you can go to the Panthers YouTube channel. There are two videos that the Panthers put out. One is Paint Your Teammate. That's their schedule release video, where basically they've got like Derek Brown painting Chuba Hubbard and Adam Thielen painting JJ Jansen or something. Like they're sitting across from tables of each other and they're like painting each other. And then like they show the picture, and the picture is like with the player's actual image for that week's game. So they did it that way. Of course, I think the Tennessee Titans, again, had the most creative schedule release. They sequeled what they did last year. If you don't remember, they were out in the street. They were asking
Chargers won.
I haven't seen the
Chargers with the Sims. The Sims one with the Chargers is.
I'm going to pull. Okay, so we might go through some of those.
Chargers or Rams.
We might.
Chargers. It's the Chargers. It's Chargers.
We might go through some of those here later on in the show then, because and not the full entirety, but we just might hit some clips of it. But they're all out, and again, they're funny to watch. So you can find them all on their YouTube channel.
And I will say, like, I agree. I'm not that hype over the Panthers schedule release video this year as compared to recent years. But let's be honest, this organization has been pretty damn busy this offseason, doing a lot of stuff. Yeah. And I'm talking even the digital team. They've had to do a lot of stuff with the rookies, the new coach, new GM. Like, they've had a lot on their table, and on their plate. So it's okay that they take a year off on the schedule release, not being as in depth as it has been in years past.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not a lot of. We deserve what we get, basically. I mean, when you finish 2-15 or whatever, the next year, it's not like
you're saying this is a 2-14 effort.
I'm saying that perception's everything, and right now the NFL is looking at us like, we'll see y'all 1:00 on Sunday, every Sunday. Like, we're not giving you nothing else. Like, you got to prove it to us. So let's.
It was on Good Morning Football yesterday. Somebody was talking about the Jets playing the 49ers in week 1, and one of them said, like, about the Jets fans complaining that they have to play San Francisco week 1, and they're like, look, come on, that's the magnitude of having Aaron Rodgers on your team and everything. It's not like they're going to put you at Carolina on a 1:00.
Right,
like,
you wanted to smoke. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Like, wow. That's like the whole Jason Tatum, Charlotte Hornets NBA League Pass kind of comment.
Oh yeah, I remember that too. I was mad about that. Then I was like, you know what?
You got a point.
It's kind of got a point. I can't really debate it. That's why we got to get better, and we can be one of the surprise teams next year. So we're the Panther pod of optimism here. Well, except for Schuyler, for the most part, we're pretty, for the most part, optimistic. Schuyler's our straight man. He's the one that tells us now, let's not get too crazy here. We're not going 15-2. Let's just relax. Me and Stewart are the ones who are like 15-2. Let's do this. Let's get in here.
This year, I'm gonna be a little bit more realistic about it.
I hope I am. I hope I am. I don't know, as the fan on the base here.
I'm learning to become a fan, because I always speak from the mindset of a player, which is, I believe that we can win every game. You know, you don't just show up to a football match or a football game or a soccer match or a basketball game or a track meet and think to yourself, oh man, we might lose this.
Yeah, this might be trouble.
So like from that vantage point, I've had to learn to come to grips with, actually looking at this from a level head, from a fan's point of view, which is how can I give myself the best outcome without having my expectations set too high and not having them set too low. You got to find that easy medium to where if it does exceed the easy medium, it's a good season. So
be honest here, Stu. Like if there was ever one game, college or NFL career, where you went into it, obviously you think you're going to win, but was there ever one game where you're like, it's going to take a lot for us to win this game?
Yes. I've like, so with how you describe that, you know, okay, it's going to take us we can't make any mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Like I've had games like that where, you know, we played, you know, the Patriots, we played the Saints every year, especially when Drew Brees was lighting it up. Every time we played the Seattle Seahawks, just understanding the physicality of that type of game and, you know, just being the more physical team and punching them in the mouth first. So those types of games, the mentality is always, all right, we're going to have to bring it and like not make any mistakes. But I've never gone into a game thinking to myself, oh, we're about to lose this game. I've never had that mentality in anything. One thing that I've had that mindset with is pickleball and golf. Even though in golf, I think to myself, man, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna crush it today. I'm gonna shoot, I'm gonna go low.
I was gonna say everybody seems like the ones that, because we talked about this last week. I've never played a full round of actual golf before, but it does feel like when people go out there, they're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kill this today," and then they come home like humbled, like.
Oh, you may crush the ball, you just don't know where the ball's going to go.
You're gonna crush it. You're gonna crush it on out there on a slice into somebody's house, into somebody's car.
We should do that this summer. Like maybe we should try to get up in July or something. Try to go play some golf down in Charlotte someplace.
Yeah, man, come on out.
Cool. We might try to put that together because I'm looking at my July. I'm kind of like, got an open space here. Might go do something.
Go ahead and go golf.
So week 1, September 8th, start off with a divisional divisional game against the New Orleans Saints, 1:00 on Fox. You're going to see a pattern here as we get deeper into these. Week 2, September 15th, in LA, hosting the Los Angeles Chargers. Excuse me. Jim Harbaugh comes to Charlotte along with Justin Herbert and whoever else the Chargers bring with them. That's a CBS game in the AFC. Week 3, September 22nd, at the Las Vegas Raiders, playing the AFC West this year. It's a 4:05 p.m. kickoff on CBS, so 2 CBS games back-to-back. And then week 4, September 29th, hosting Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, 1:00 on Fox. Let's stop it there. First 4 weeks of the season, 2 road games, 2 home games. Going out west once, hosting the Bengals and the Chargers. Thoughts on this opening salvo of games here? I think it'll show a lot about the identity of the Panthers. Just these 4 games, especially defensively. With the Chargers and the Bengals coming in. Have we ever been to Vegas? I don't think we've ever been to Vegas before.
No.
So what about the thoughts here in the beginning? Manageable?
I mean, I think 2-2 is the best case scenario, but I think realistically you're looking at winning one of those games, probably being the Raiders. But I don't know. Week 1's always kind of a big unknown because, I mean, let's face it, like there's a lot of unknowns about this team. I mean, we know, what Bryce Young could potentially do, but there's a lot of this offense is going to look a lot different this year. So I think there's always that element of surprise, especially when you're playing a division opponent. And the good thing is in week 1, when you're playing a division opponent, you're not really going to hide anything because you need to do everything you can to win those types of games. So that will be a fun week 1 matchup. I like playing a division opponent week 1.
I think we have the past couple of years, it feels like, because last year we played
the last 4 years or 3 years?
I think it was Atlanta last year because I remember Frank Wright and them being all hyped about it because that was their first game back in the day or whatever. And we know what happened in that game. Looking at so I do like kind of being on the road first week too, just to kind of, I don't, well, Stu, you can answer this. Is it better to be on the road for a player week 1 or at home week 1? Because at home, I'd imagine you have certain things that
I mean, I think there's good things. There's good and bad, right? Ultimately, a travel game first week, it's just a little bit more focus. I think that's given to the process. You got your travel routine that you got to get going, especially for the rookies. So everyone's dialed in, working out all the kinks. You're really working out all these kinks, hopefully, throughout the preseason. This goes for management. This goes for the whole process of, getting teams. We got a new coaching staff. So getting the, all the little nuances as far as travel bags and what are we taking, on this trip. And, this is what I want to focus on for the players and the mealtime and meetings. And this is how we're going to approach, our pregame. So having a travel game, the first week just keeps that level of focus. And I like that because it's going to need a lot of focus. It's a division game. So you want to make sure you do all you can, to put your best foot forward and the Division One game or not Division One game, but your division opponent. And what I like about this is hopefully we go out there the first game and showcase exactly who we are. You know what I'm saying?
Identity.
Your identity that you've been, working on throughout this offseason. The cool thing is that no one's ever seen this unit on offense. So we don't really know exactly what to, what to expect as far as the pace of play, the play calling, and all that stuff. But as long as we go out there and we're competitive and we can run the ball, we might give ourselves a chance. I see these teams, New Orleans, yeah, that's a division game, and they played well last year for the most part. But I see these teams again as beatable. Cincinnati started off slow last year.
Yep.
With Burrow. Burrow's coming off of, a season-ending injury last year, and hopefully, we are able to put him into, positions of basically exposing him, from the defensive side and creating opportunities. So we'll see.
Hold on, let me scroll it down. The October 6th, week 5 at Chicago. There's your Carolina versus Chicago matchup there. Battle of two number ones. We'll see Justin. Oh my gosh, did I forget his name already?
Caleb Williams.
I was about to say Justin Williams for somebody. I'm confusing him and Justin Fields. Caleb Williams taking on, I would assume, Bryce Young in that matchup, 1:00 on Fox. That's a Sunday game. Another divisional matchup, week 6, October 13th, hosting the Atlanta Falcons. Who knows? Anybody want to guess who the quarterback might be for Atlanta, week 6?
I still think it's Kirkers. Yeah, Kirkers will be there the whole year.
I saw some video.
Barring injury.
Boy, I saw some video of your boy at their rookie camp. Penix throws a pretty ball, man. I don't know.
Yeah, he throw it. I think there's something to say though. I think if the Atlanta Falcons do what they're supposed to do with this draft pick, they're going to keep him and just raise him as the backup. And when the opportunity is right, which means Kirk Cousins is no longer there, hopefully that's their best case scenario. Is that Kirk Cousins is playing good enough to win games and they get to the playoffs, but it's just somehow things aren't, mapping out with your boy. He's gone the next season and you have a fresh start with a guy that has basically been an understudy. Right. So,
yeah.
And he just
you can kind of treat it like Jordan Love a little bit, even though Penix is older than Jordan Love in terms of when he came into the league. But
yeah, what is it, 24, 25, something like that? So we'll see. It's a late game. It's part of a doubleheader, actually. That was something different that I don't think the Panthers had any of those last year, where they were in the late afternoon slot of the doubleheader. It's 4:25 p.m. on Fox. Week 7, October 20th at Washington Commanders, 4:05 p.m. I Bleav that's the doubleheader on CBS on week 7. So 2 back-to-back doubleheader weeks for the Panthers, but still playing on Sunday. Week 8, October 28th at the Denver Broncos, 4:25 p.m. Let's stop right there and dissect those last 4. At Bears, home against Atlanta, at Washington, and then at Washington, at Denver. So 3 road games in a 4-game slate there. But again, all of them on Sunday. No Thursday night game, no Sunday night, no Sunday night game, no Monday night game. They're all Sunday. I would imagine that in the end, I saw the video with the schedule release behind the scenes. Dave Canales seemed extremely happy about the fact that they didn't have any. Dan Morgan seemed okay with it too. The first words out of Dave Canales' mouth was that normal weeks. We'll have normal weeks every week of the season. I like that. I imagine that's huge for a first.
Nobody likes playing on Thursday.
Yeah, nobody likes playing on Thursday. And then I'd imagine the turnaround too. Like, really, I guess Sunday night's fine. Monday night's fine, unless you're playing like, I guess, an early Sunday game or something. Even then, you still got pretty much a week. But that Thursday game seems like it's a killer in terms of it's not natural to play football 4 days after.
And you're also not playing on a Wednesday for the Christmas or whatever. I think isn't Christmas on a Wednesday this year? And there's teams playing on Christmas.
Yes, and I was going to ask your questions about that. We'll get down to it, but I'm sure you guys saw that Netflix is in the game now. They're going to have 2 Christmas Day games on Netflix. It's the Steelers and somebody. I think
they're trying to get you to buy everything.
Dude, everything's going to be on streaming.
Yeah, you got to buy all the streaming services right now. You got like 7 different streaming services just to make sure you watch. But I guess for the Panthers, we don't need to get Amazon Prime.
Just the basic cable.
Yeah,
you can you can just cancel your Amazon Prime.
That's the dream. That's the dream. We aspire to get to that Netflix
the
level.
Panthers, the entire Panthers schedule can be found on an antenna, except for the Germany game.
And that's the one that's going to bother me the most because it's going to be on NFL Network. And every year when they do that to us, I have to go get Philo or something that has NFL Network just for like that 3-hour stretch and get the free trial just so I can watch the game. And then I forget to turn it off. And then it's randomly on for like 2 months. And I'm like, what is this bill that I've got for $25 for? What is this? And I'm like, oh,
that one damn game.
The Panthers got me again. So
that's a bummer though. I was hoping the Germany game was a little earlier, honestly, because I was looking for. I've never been overseas that way. And I was planning on going, but obviously that time of the year I'm not allowed to now. So
I've got
to be honest, man. This schedule, we'll get to it towards the end here, but I'm not mad at this schedule at all.
Me either. Like there's nothing on it where I'm like,
little segment that we just went through, that 4-game stretch with Atlanta, Washington. Scroll back up a little bit.
Atlanta,
so right there, starting with Chicago, you have Chicago, Atlanta, Washington, Denver. That's a very manageable stretch right there. And even if you throw in New Orleans at home, you always seem to play the Saints better at home than on the road. And then you have the Giants. Like that 6-week stretch, that to me is the sweet spot where they've got to get some traction.
And that goes right to the bye. So they go to Germany, then they have the bye week 11. So
coming out of the bye.
And then you have the Chiefs. You're hosting the Chiefs after. So you go to Germany, you play the Giants, you get your bye, and then you're hosting the Kansas City Chiefs 1:00 on CBS, week 12. And at that point, somebody actually asked in the comments. It was Mark Burks. Good morning, fellas. Curious if y'all have a point on this schedule that's kind of the metric week that says by this time the team should look like XYZ, or it might be a sign that there's a problem. You know what? That's a really good question. Because I don't know when we started to feel that way last year. It was like a sinking feeling. It wasn't like one specific week where we were like, oh my gosh, this is like, what are we doing? It was a constant gradual decline of faith, I think, in what was happening. Do you think there's a week where we should have a sense? Because I was going to say like week 4, maybe week 3, week 4.
I'd say probably what's week 6 again?
Atlanta Falcons. I think after that Atlanta game, we'll know kind of where we actually sit in all this, because we're either going to be 1-0 in the division, or we're going to be 0-1 going into that, right? So if you can at least think to yourself, these division games, if we can win our division games, we got a chance, right? To keep the story going and to keep that locker room's mindset on winning these games and just growing together as a unit. If you can go in week one and win that game and surprise them with what you are as an offense and catch them on their heels, you end up winning that game. You now week 6 playing the Atlanta Falcons. Now Atlanta Falcons are on their heels and basically saying we're supposed to quote unquote win this game. That can be a trap game depending on where Atlanta Falcons are.
That's a good point.
This schedule, at least on paper, is really segmented. Like the first month of the season, you have like a few games you could win, a few games you could lose. That middle part, which is the entire month of October, all those games in October are winnable in my eyes. And then once you get after the bye week, November, December is just a brutal stretch.
Yeah.
So for me, if this team's going to have any chance of being in the mix, they're going to have to do it before the bye week. So they've got those first 10 weeks to at least hover around 500, because after that, I mean, the good thing is when you are playing the Chiefs, but at least you have a bye going into that Kansas City game. You have some time to kind of
and it's a home game, so you have no travel.
Home game. And Canales kind of said the same thing in the Science video when they were sitting there watching it and they saw that Kansas City was after the bye. He was like, we get the bye and then Kansas City. So his wheels are already turning. Like, I get an extra week to prepare for the Chiefs coming into town. And maybe Taylor Swift. Maybe Taylor Swift's in Charlotte. Now we're projecting way into November that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are still together in November of
hopefully they are, man. They seem like
they're
happy and in love, man.
Yeah,
keep it going.
If you come across Taylor Swift somehow in one of the suites, are you going to stop by and say hey?
I'm pretty sure if I'm at that game, my daughter's going to be with me.
Ooh.
So
that's the ticket right there.
Yeah. So I would do anything for my daughter and stop and say hello.
Bro,
and my wife,
dad of the year, dad of the century. If you pull that off for your kid,
I would be dad of the century if I pulled that off, huh? Hey,
So
Taylor Swift, my wife and my daughter really love your music.
They're right here.
They're great fans. Oh, they're right here, actually.
They just pop behind from your back.
So, November 24th, Kansas City Chiefs, 1:00 p.m. on CBS. We got a lot of CBS games this year, it feels like. December 1st, week 13, divisional matchup against Tampa. Actually, play Tampa. They do this to us every year where it's like we play one of the divisional opponents twice in like 5 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever. This year it's Tampa because Tampa's December 1st, then December 8th at Philly, 1:00 kickoff on Fox. December 15th, the Cowboys come to Charlotte. That's gonna be
early Christmas gift for a lot of
that's gonna
Panther / Cowboy fans.
I swear, Panther Nation, if y'all let Bank of America Stadium get overrun by Cowboy fans, because I know how we do. Like, depending on what's going on in the season, Cowboy fans, Steeler fans, Commander fans, but primarily the first two, Niner fans, but primarily Cowboys and mainly Steelers. Like, I see Steeler fans at games that the Steelers aren't even at. We're even playing the Steelers, and there's like dudes waving terrible towels or whatever it be. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, Steelers.
I learned my lesson last year with the Cowboys. I knew it was going to be packed. So just throwing this out here, like, so typically in a game day for me, if it's a 1:00 game, I'm usually trying to get to the stadium, like in the stadium in the press box by like 9:30. And that way I have plenty of time to set up, do everything I got to do pregame. I did my normal thing, left maybe 20 minutes earlier. I didn't get into the press box until like 12:45. That's how bad the traffic was. So this year, my butt's leaving at like 4 a.m.
4 a.m?
Yeah. I'm not doing that again.
Oh, Lordy.
You live and you learn, Schuyler.
You live and you learn. So Dallas at 1 on December 15th. December 22nd, Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals come to town. That's a 1:00 kickoff on Fox as well. After Christmas, week 17, they finish the season. Week 17, they'll start to finish the season.
When's the last time we played the Cardinals?
It's been a while. It would have to be
2021, right? Matt Rule's last year.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been like 4 years. I think we went out there.
or 20.
Yeah.
Was it 20? No, it was in Charlotte.
It was the year they signed Cam back because that was his game back. It was against Arizona.
Well,
Wasn't
that was 21. In 22, they came to Charlotte because I think that was the game before Matt got fired. Because they played Arizona and then I think San Francisco.
San Francisco was the week. It was all red. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. But I remember
whenever we play Arizona in December at home, it gives you a good sense of history and what you're supposed to be doing, which is running the ball,
good times playing
and
Arizona.
whooping tail.
Yeah.
So hopefully hopefully next year, Panther fans can catch a vibe. That's all we want. Nice little vibe.
We finish out with 2 divisional road games at Tampa Bay, December 29th, and then to be determined at Atlanta Falcons, to which Dave Canales mentioned that, and Dan Morgan both mentioned, well, we can be flexed. Anywhere in those last couple of weeks, depending on what we're doing as a team, they could easily flex any of these games to nighttime if they want to. Sunday night in particular, I think after week 15 or 14, they get everybody's kind of up to be flexed. And
I'm not a fan of all these 4:00 games.
There's a lot, yeah.
But Stu, I wanted your take on what was your favorite and worst or least favorite times to play?
Good question.
My least favorite times to play, I feel like I played, like the 4:00 games are weird.
Yeah, because it's like not early, not late.
You have a lot of time in between when you wake up, and there's just the couple of hours where you just don't know what to do with your time. So you wake up, you eat breakfast, you go eat breakfast, and then some coaches are overcoaching and want you to have meetings in the morning to make sure you're still focused on the game. And I'm like, it's overkill. But they just want to keep you in it because there's that extra span of time to where your brain can be wondering, especially if it's an away game, right? And so it's like, what do I do in this hotel, right? And if it's a home game, you got family at the house, so you can't just go home unless you live by yourself, which for the time, I played the majority of my career, I was able to go back to my house. And a lot of guys that have families, with kids, 3, 6, 10 years old, and they're at the house. You can't go back there and, chill for a couple hours around your family before a game. So it's that weird time where you just don't know what to do. And I don't like it.
I don't like 4:00 games just because it messes up my Sunday routine as a fan. I'm used to, I get up at 10, 10:30. Sunday's my day to kind of sleep in. My family kind of leaves me alone all day because I know I'm gonna be screaming and hollering at the TV and cooking and stuff.
So you mad that when the Panthers come on at 4,
I'm stretching the whole day.
You basically are free hey Desmond, I need you to go to the store.
Honeydew list, yes, I can do this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I know your game's not on until 4:30 this week on CBS, right? I need you to go take this out and drop her off here and this and that.
Well, the thing about the 4:00 games is so when you play at 1, even after the post game press conference and I do all my stuff, I still get home at 6:30.
Yeah,
for a 1:00 game. I know I'm going to be back and still be able to watch Sunday Night Football or whatever. If it's a primetime game, look, I know I'm going to be there till the wee hours of the morning. But when it's 4:00, it just eats up your whole evening, and you're not going to get back till 9, 10 o'clock. You're just going to go straight to bed. But it's kind of weird too. You could go home, and if it's a quick game, you still may have a little bit of an evening. You just don't know, and that's what I don't like about it.
Well, the one thing, if no one's noticed as we went through this whole season from the schedule, no night games, no Thursday night games, no Sunday night games, no Monday night games. Every game is Sunday afternoon as it's situated right now, either at 1 or at 4:00. And to Schuyler's point, going back through the schedule, the one in Germany is at 9:30 in the morning. But other than that,
that's the only game that we have everyone's undivided attention, which is at 9:30 a.m.
Well, on NFL Network. So if you got NFL Network, then you got a shot there. But let's see, how many do we got? So 1, Las Vegas, 405. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 of our games are at 4:00 starts on the schedule on Sunday as part of double headers or whatnot. So, or out west, one of the two. So, I don't really see anything in the schedule that's not manageable. Kansas City will be a fun game. Who knows what Dallas is going to look like this year? Yeah, maybe. That might be a fun game.
A fun game or a bloodbath.
Yeah. I mean, by that time, though, and we'll have a week to prepare for them. I do like that. I like where the bye is in week 11 instead of super late or super early in the year like I think we had last year. I think we had a really early bye last year. And then injuries just started to mount up as we kept going deeper and deeper into the season. I'm kind of good with this. I'm good with the schedule.
Yeah. And I think what fans need to realize, like Panthers, you guys should be upset. Panther fans should be like, you know what? It's jacked up. It's disrespectful. It's all the things, right? But hey, the NFL realized the Carolina Panthers were 2-15 last year. The last time that we were that bad was when we were 2-14.
Yep.
And that was in 2010. I was on that team. The following year, we bring in Coach Rivera. Rob Chudzinski is our offensive coordinator. And we draft Cam Newton. Cam Newton didn't get no primetime games his rookie year. We finished 6-10 that year after a 2-14 season.
Much more enjoyable season for fans to watch, by the way.
Yeah, it was more exciting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're scoring.
Yeah.
We gave ourselves a chance. But I think, you know, going back to that year, I felt disrespected, even though the year before we were 2-14. It's like, bro, you were 2-14 last year. Like, what do you expect the NFL to do? Like, they need to make sure that they're exceeding expectations on their spreadsheets, which is basically another way of saying they got to make their money. And if they can make more money with other teams being watched on primetime games, they're going to do that. Now, what I will say, that mentality automatically can give you a shift within the culture, within that locker room. Okay, so they don't see us, right? They don't see us. They telling us we got to earn it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so go earn it so you can be seen. And, you know, you play with that chip on your shoulder. And I feel like that chip on our shoulder was recognized that year. I think Coach Rivera helped our locker room, helped the guys that have been there realize how much we are disrespected and how much we are, you know, not realized amongst, you know, the other professional teams because of the market that we're in. You know, at the time, Charlotte, you know, we're still not where we want to be as a market. We're getting there, but we're not Chicago. We're not New York. We're not Detroit. We're not these cities that have, you know, this mass following and, you know, broadcasting, you know, influence and whatnot. So when it comes to this year, I absolutely am using that energy as a player and channeling it through my play on the field, basically saying, all right, this is an opportunity for me to stand out. Now, next year, right? Hopefully you've done something this year to put yourself back on the map, because that's exactly what happened. 2012, after 2011, no primetime games. 2012, they said, you know what? They showed us a little something. Let's give them some primetime games. And basically it was Cam Newton's ability to scramble out of the pocket, make people look stupid, all kind of stuff, right? People want to see that. And hopefully Bryce Young and these Panthers and, you know, Canellas, you know, gives the fans and gives the NFL something to look forward to throughout, you know, for next year. But there is still an opportunity this year to flex your way to a primetime game.
They don't just hand them out to whoever.
If you go out there and you basically squeeze their pockets and make them put you on, you know, the big screen, big show, then you're on your way to you're set on the right path as far as where you want to go as an organization. This is an opportunity.
that last game is to be determined. So they're kind of looking like if Carolina and Atlanta are battling for the NFC South week 18 or whatever, they might put that on Sunday night or whatnot. So I mean that could be there, but to Stu's point, you got to earn it. And you remind me of two things. 2012, I want to say Rivera was on the hot seat. Didn't you guys start like 0-3 or something like that? And then you went 12-4 the rest of the year or something crazy like that. Like you got hot, like, and just kept building. Because I remember Rivera being on a hot seat at that point, and you reminded me of the Amazon series.
We were 1-3 in the first 4 games.
And then went boom and just started running through folks. And I think you guys ran into San Francisco in the playoffs or something, which started kind of that rivalry with the 49ers and the Seahawks down the road and all that kind of stuff. You reminded me of the section of the Amazon Prime Panthers doc from a couple years ago, like Cam's last season. The one when they're in Pittsburgh and it's halftime and Ron Rivera's in the locker room yelling at the team. It was probably the most eye-opening if you're a Panther fan, because you've never seen Ron Rivera like that. Like, the man played with the 85 Bears, so you assume he's got a couple of swear words in his back pocket, and like he was, and they're dropping F-bombs and like, don't let them do this to you and blah blah blah. Like he got me hyped, like sitting there watching it back there, and I'm like, I've never seen Ron Rivera like that before. Like that was crazy to watch, and from what you described, I could picture it in my head, like him basically telling you guys, like, look, you got to go out and get it. Like
they don't respect you.
They don't respect.
They expect you to go out there and flop. They expect you to go out there and just be just another thing in a way for another team.
Yep.
A speed bump.
Your speed bump, yeah.
So if that's the case, that's cool. And, I think, throughout my career, there's been multiple seasons where we've been under the radar. I love operating under the radar because it just allows you to not have the distractions. It allows you to focus on you individually, collectively as a unit, and just do your thing. You can grow as a unit under the radar. Like it's better that people don't know your business anyway, right? Like it just seems like when you have no distractions, that's where you're the most focused. So this is an opportunity for the Carolina Panthers, coaching staff, these the first few wave of games. You can go out there and just like breathe easy, play your ball, and let people catch on, later on in the season when you're winning games.
Real quick, because I know Schuyler's got a hard out at 11. We hinted at the beginning of the show. Still feeling like you want to do some Tell 'em Why You Mad? You got something you got to get off your chest? Because I think I am going to go in.
Yeah, do it. I think it's okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
You want me to go, or you want to go, or
look? So look, Bucker.
Well, do we want to play the clip? Because I found the clip.
No, we don't have to play a clip. I mean, I just think
we're gonna set this up.
Like he's. I think he's a great teammate, and I think he's a great guy. And I think that platform, you got to read the room a little bit and understand where we are in today's society.
Well, but people don't know what we're talking about. Let's frame with this. So Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker. Yeah. We actually drafted this kid 7th round years ago. He never made the team because we had Graham Gano. We ended up cutting him. Chiefs picked him up. He's won 3 Super Bowls since then. So he's with Kansas City. And he's given this commencement speech, I guess yesterday at I can't find the college, but some small like liberal college someplace. And he's going off against women in this speech, basically saying that the highest that they should want to achieve is being a housewife and a wife to a husband. And that the line that caught me, he says something like, you've been a part of a diabolical lie, women, for the past 4 years. Like basically he's just poo-pooing the fact that they even tried to get their degrees or whatever at their commencement speech. Like he's the commencement speaker and he's telling this to women. A bunch of other crazy stuff he spit too, but that's the gist of it. And we were talking about it before the show started. I was like, do we want to go in on it? And my wife was like, you guys should go in on it because of the platform you have or whatever, and show that not everybody thinks like this. And okay, I set it up for you, so go.
Yeah. Good job.
Thank you.
But basically, brother,
I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
As a husband, as a father of 2 girls, I will never in my entire life think to put the women in my life in a box like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially if you look over the time of history, you know, the women that have sacrificed, you know, their lives and have gone the extra mile, you look at, you know, a lot of the things that we enjoy, you know, such as Wi-Fi, right? You know, pretty sure a woman was a huge part of satellites being in space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, without the woman, we are basically not where we are. We aren't even here without the woman. So for us to, you know, box up the female and basically say, hey, this is your place on earth and this is your place in life, that's not okay. I mean, you came from the womb of your mom.
Exactly.
Like,
It's at the commencement.
at the end of the day, in my mind, you deserve to do whatever the hell you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to be the mayor, you want to be you know, a CEO of the president of whatever business, you want to go in and create something, and you want to go and figure out how to get to the moon, you want to figure out how to do all this stuff, you do it.
I have 2 daughters myself, and I'm just like, there's nothing that you can't do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they're like seeing Kamala Harris be vice president. I can tell my daughters, you can become vice president, you can become president. You know what I mean? Like, and before 10 years ago, I couldn't say that to them. And like, to see something like this, plus the thing that made me the most
I'm gonna tell you why we mad.
upset about it, after my wife had sent me the clip, because I don't have TikTok on my phone, so she sent it to me, and I started looking around, and I was starting to see some of my female friends getting really upset about it. And come to find out, his mom has a PhD, and his sister went far as well. I'm like, you lived a life of basically the child of a doctor, and then you became an NFL star, and like, you're comparing your wife, and your wife's all happy that, you know, she's housewife. You make $5 million a year. Like, your wife doesn't have to work. There's a difference between that, and if she's saying she's choosing to be an NFL wife or whatever and doesn't want a job or whatever, fine. But if you're saying that you don't want her to work, that this should be the highest that she achieves or whatever, that bothers me. Like, that bothers me a lot. And like,
not everyone's in that position either.
Yeah, not everybody's in that position. It's also stunning to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why we mad.
How dumb this is, because did you not just play for the Kansas City Chiefs for the entire year? Did you not just see your fan base explode with females, like by the hundreds of millions, like this year? All of them
Schuyler,
are now dragging you on social media.
You brought up a great point. Like, he's speaking from a privileged situation. Your wife doesn't have to work. Like, there's women out here that have to go to work. They have to.
There's only so many NFL players, and
they have to figure it out on their own. My mom was a single mom. She had to figure that out.
Yep.
She didn't have the, you know, the mindset or the opportunity or the privilege to just do nothing and just be a mom and raise kids.
Your wife.
No, she had to work 3 jobs. She had to basically raise me and my brother at the same time while keeping her sanity. So absolutely, like, the women, you know, that are upset about what he has said in that speech, they should be upset.
And they ain't gonna let this go anytime soon.
And I think there needs to be some clarifications, hopefully, on hopefully what points he was trying to come across. But ain't no way of really saving that. But
I tried to justify. I was like, maybe he was trying to joke, but it came out wrong. And I'm like, no, because he doubled down on it, and like, he's adamant about it. Like, it's not really in a joking manner. And
I think that he's a good guy. And I just think sometimes we get wrapped up in our own beliefs and what we think, and we have a platform, and sometimes we just say, hey, I'm just going to go for it. And that was not, you could have gone for something else, and we could have, and I think it could have been received a little differently. But, you know, if my daughter heard that speech, I'm immediately going to her and telling her,
exactly,
you can achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve in life. Don't let people tell you otherwise. And I want to hear I can't. All I want to hear is I can, because you have all the ability. And if you put your mind to it, you can do it. And that goes for any and everyone. You don't let people put you in a box. And yeah, it's crazy.
Willie says he gave a similar speech last year, so this isn't like something he just kind of stumbled on. This is what he believes. And that's fine. You believe what you want, but you also can get dragged. Because
you're gonna get dragged for it.
And you just met one of my favorite mottos that I kind of live by, and this goes male or female, whatever you're trying to do professionally or just in life. My favorite saying is, "Never let another person make you feel like you don't deserve what you truly want." And I live by that. Like, don't let anybody make you feel like you don't deserve to go after whatever you want to go after, or whatever you feel like you deserve to achieve. Stuff like this, when somebody makes comments like this, Panther Dog said, I think he was saying men are being emasculated. It sounded more like men should stay masculine. Maybe I didn't see it all. He goes into that a little bit too.
Yeah, I saw that part, and I hear that.
Though, like,
I hear that. Like, we need more men to be men.
But that's
period.
not.
I believe
that's
that.
different from him.
But this was a whole different part of the speech that we're speaking on. When it comes to, basically, like I've been saying, you don't put a woman in a box.
No,
you're not putting my daughter in a box. You're not putting my 3-year-old or my 7-year-old or my wife in a box, and basically saying, hey, look, society's been lying to you. You actually can't achieve anything.
What? Like, read the room, man. You're at a commencement speech. Like, what are you doing?
Actually, it's not even read the room. It's just, that don't make no sense.
Yeah, you shouldn't even say that if that's a different room. Like, you shouldn't even be on this. It's not
19. You keep on talking like that, you might they might send you to the upper room. These women gonna come after you.
Yeah, yo, the Swifties, man. The Swifties and the Beehive. Don't mess with the Beyonce fans, and don't mess with the Taylor Swift fans. Like, you might have stepped in something. Reverend Saul says he said a ton of dumb stuff, but he also tried quoting Taylor Swift at one point. Sure, JK will have something to say about that. Good way to lose a job fast. I don't even understand how you can even do that. Like, how can you even quote Taylor Swift in that speech that you're doing? Like, I don't know. Let's before we get out of here, of course, Schuyler had a heart out at 11. We're about to get out too, but before we go, we'll do a quick check-in on the Bleav Panthers ultimate 53-man roster. Again, it was inside linebacker that was where we were. I'm trying to pull the last poll. Here we go. And as you can see, Luke Kuechly won by a large margin, 82%. Now there are some other votes are starting to come in now, because before it was hold on, I'm sharing the wrong tab. Before it was just Luke getting the votes, nobody else. But now, as you can see, a couple others have come in. John Beeson at 11.8%, Sam Mills at 5.9%. It looks like it's going to be Kuechly and Beeson. It says there's 8 hours left on the poll, but usually we stop it when we show it here. You played with both Beeson and Kuechly, Stu. What do you think was the biggest? What was the biggest quality of each one? Like, what was their best attribute, as a middle linebacker? Because they were both great, but they both were kind of different in terms of how they played the position.
Yeah, they were both great. John Beeson, I had the opportunity to not just play with him and and go to practice and see him, in that element. But I had the opportunity of going to Miami in the off seasons and train with John Beeson. I learned how to treat my off seasons because of John Beeson, which is, you got to put in your work then. If you want to be better for the next year, you got to put in the work. And John Beeson is one of the most hardworking athletes I've ever been around.
That's like
it's 0 to 100, and he's not letting off the gas. There's no breaks until the game is over, until practice is over, until the training segment is over. So John Beeson's going to outwork you. He's going to outsmart you. He's going to know where everyone's supposed to be, on the field, lined up. He's one of the great vocal leaders, and just a guy that you just automatically follow. he has that presence. He has the presence, and he has that presence because he puts in the work. You follow the guys that have proof of concept. And John Beeson has been that throughout his whole entire football career. And, Luke is Luke. Luke is one of the best people I've ever been around in my entire life. Just put it that way. If you're a good person and you work on that and you focus on, crafting and making yourself better as a person, all the accolades and all the things that you set out to do, all those things will follow. And I think Luke Kuechly, the way he prepared, he has to have a photographic memory or something because he's able to watch able to watch film and basically know exactly what's happening. He spent a lot of time, just on the mental side of the game, I think, and just his, the way he prepared was probably the best of anyone in the business. The countless hours of film that he watched allowed for him to, instill confidence in the players around him by telling them where to line up, where the ball is going to go. It made everyone around him better. And obviously, again, he's an incredible hard worker, excellent athlete, just great instincts, knowing where the ball is. Just everything that you want out of a linebacker. Luke Kuechly was that. And that's the reason why he'll be, in my opinion, a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I definitely deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I don't think there's any argument that Kuechly is probably the greatest linebacker that's played for the Panthers up to this point. John Beeson right there, though. Injuries kind of cut his career short here with the Panthers. Went off to the Giants and played at the end there. But and then Sam Mills, of course, getting a vote there as well. Someone that posted Kuechly and Beeson in the middle of a 3-4 defense would be nightmare for opposing teams. I agree. And then you have who we have in Pep and I forgot who the other end was.
Charles Johnson
or Mike Rucker. It was one of the two. I can't remember which was. I think it was Charles Johnson. So yeah, that'd be fun. Now, Macho Somin says, I love this podcast, but it's pitiful that the schedule got released yesterday and we're already talking about next year. Awesome show, but we suck. I don't remember talking about next year.
No, we weren't talking about next year.
We are here.
Only thing we said about next year was we were talking about the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah. As far as the quarterback situation there, but I think this year we have it's set out to really help us. I'm not saying that I'm not really throwing the bar out there just yet, but it's set up for us to figure it out and figure it out on our terms, right?
No, we'll do the win-loss thing when we come back at the beginning of season 5. We'll go into that because we usually do it in August after we've seen a couple preseason games.
I can tell you right now how I feel about it, though.
What's up?
I think we are definitely an 8+ team.
8+?
8+.
I might win the division. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know if we will or not, but I feel like we have a stretch there where we can win 8 games.
If we're healthy, the O-line stays together, because that to me is the key. If the O-line stays together for most part of the year, Derek Brown takes that leap that we're kind of hoping he does into that Aaron Donald territory of like, you can't guard me at DT, which he's kind of at right now. And Bryce, the light turns on for Bryce. Yeah, I don't really see people forget that last year that we were 2-15, but we were in a lot of those games. Like it wasn't like we were getting blown out. Even with the incompetence of the coaching staff, we were still close in a lot of those games, but just a few. So I mean,
I think obviously, health is going to take a lot of, pressure off of us. If we're healthy, we can give ourselves a chance. Because I just look at the way if we are who we want to be, and we're wanting to run the ball, and we end up being able to run the ball really well, those hard games in December become a lot more winnable if we can achieve the run game. And so that's just my opinion.
Looks like there's going to be a 3-headed monster in the backfield, according to Dan Morgan. I don't know if they are going to do anything with Miles Sanders. They might have plans to keep him, which is fine. Which
would be really good. I mean, like I've always said, Miles Sanders in space, He's a different animal.
It's harder to tackle the running back when you can't see him because the guard weighs 350 and he's 6'6" and you can't see around him. He didn't have that last year. So like, well, it's a whole different thing. That's what he had in Philly. Like, that's the reason why he got the money, because he had that running behind that Philly line. So I think we covered a good little amount here. We got the schedule release in, middle linebackers. Only thing left is secondary. So we'll probably sum that up next week. Getting closer here to the end of the season. This is kind of the dead period here. Rookie minicamp ended last weekend, and we won't really have anything until July. So we'll probably be done until late July. I still want to do a live show, like come down to Charlotte during training camp and do a show someplace. It might be an audio only episode, but I want to do something. We can do something down there. We just got to figure it out.
We can figure something out.
Maybe I don't know how often you talk to TD, but see if they'd be willing to
see if TD can get on. Yeah,
that'd be
Thomas.
cool.
I'm gonna hit you up.
Let's do this.
You hear me?
Any other Panthers are going to be around during that time period, training camp? They're floating through. Come through with a supersized episode. Eat some wings. I heard their wings were really good. So I'm a wing connoisseur. So we'll definitely go and check that out as well. Then we're going to get out of here. We should be back next week to kind of wrap everything up for the season or whatnot. I'm sure something will happen between now and then that we'll have to discuss. And keep an eye on Bleav on Panthers Extra. Bleav is having us put some extra audio out there. Typically my terrestrial radio show, I interview a Panther beat writer or someone somewhere during that show. We've been reposting on the Bleav Podcast Network for Bleav Panthers. Last week was Charlotte Observer's longtime sports writer Scott Fowler was on with me. So you can go listen to that, as well as our regular episodes for Schuyler Callihan, for Jonathan Stewart. I'm Desmond Johnson. You've been listening and watching to the Bleav and Panthers podcast on Bleav Podcast Networks, brought to you by Bet Online. We'll see you soon. Keep in.